Hey everybody, in this video we're going to basically take plastic string and liquid resin and turn it into an awesome Stormtrooper blaster. Okay, so I got a bunch of parts. I got a bunch of plastic parts, resin parts. So I'm fortunate to have both a resin printer and a plastic printer. So FDM printer did all of it, but then some parts weren't very well detailed, didn't come out very well in plastic. So I went back and did a bunch in resin. So a whole box here full of parts. You can see even plastic though, it came out pretty nicely. Give it a quick little sand to get some layer lines out. Some of these bigger parts, like this is probably 4 or 5 parts. I went in Tinkercad, which is a free program online, and just merged them. So I printed it in resin in one piece, hollow. So just saves a bit of time. This guy just printed out 2. Again, this probably has about 10 pieces. Just merged them into one piece and printed it as one in resin. Again, this is hollow, so it's not super heavy. And that is really kind of it where I'm at now. So I printed everything out, which took over the course of several weeks. Doing it kind of slowly, that kind of thing. And what I'm going to do basically is attach the barrel. So I'm just figuring out which way it goes now. I think it goes like that. And like that. So it gives you an idea of the size here. So that's the barrel. Again, get a quick sound to get some of these layer lines. But we'll be using a filler primer, which takes care of most of that. But per instructions, it says to get some 1/2-inch dowel. So I went to Home Depot, got the 1/2-inch dowel, and it's just going to run down the middle here. And then it's going to make it a little bit more sturdier. So I just need to cut it down, and then I'm going to put some epoxy, 5-minute epoxy. I'm just going to glue these 2 parts together, and then take care of these seam lines. And that'll be the first step in this build. And really, it's just piecing this thing together. Then I'm going to paint the whole thing in basically matte black and give it a dry brush. Okay, so just mixed up some of this 5-minute epoxy, 50-50. Right now, just waiting for it to go off a little bit. Now, tip with epoxy, if it's 5 minutes, don't necessarily put it on and then wait 5 minutes. Just wait closer to the time, I think. So what I did is I put all the barrels together and I slid in the dowel, and then it kind of, if you can imagine all 3 parts together, it kind of poked out the end here. And with a Sharpie, I just kind of marked where the top was, and then I left like a couple of mils for the cap to go on the end. This guy goes on the end, and then just cut it with a saw. Nothing too crazy going on there. Now the crappy part I'll put face down. So it's going to quickly get some of this epoxy on all these joins. And I'll make sure I put this the right way around too. So this one's easy. You just can line the 2 grooves up right there. And then gonna smear it all around. I'm gonna put a bunch of filler around these seams anyway, so that'll be too neat here. It's gonna get sanded down all around the join. Okay, and then this side goes that way. I'm just going to drop the dowel in. As you can see, it just sticks out by a mil or 2. Okay, so just going to let that sit. It takes 5 minutes for it to go off, and once that's gone off, I'm just going to get some filler and just go around these 2 seams. All right, so it's the following morning. As you can see, making some progress, getting some bits glued on, and I made a terrible mistake of knocking over probably the worst smelling modeling product ever, CA glue kicker. Knocked over half a bottle on my desk, so I got the door wide open, airing this thing out, and minimize my time because it absolutely stinks. So I've got the main barrel glued together, as you can see, and got some filler in there and sanded it back. And then I started adding some components. So the main components, I started using I mentioned 5-minute epoxy, but then I kind of switched because I had this glue, which actually is really good. This is really good. The Gorilla Glue, clear Gorilla Glue. It takes maybe an hour or 2 to go off though. So that's why it's kind of perched like this in this position. But I do like this one, so it's working pretty well. So as you can see, I've started putting some parts on here. The gray is obviously the resin, and the black is a plastic, so you can see what kind of components I did in different parts. And if I kind of, I don't move it too much because it's still drying a little bit, but you can see how we're looking here. And we're looking pretty good shape. It's looking really awesome. Again, this is just bare plastic and needs priming and painting and all that kind of jazz. But that's where we're at. Again, all this stuff is drying, and I'm just going to lay it down so it can dry for an hour or two. And then once that's done, we'll just continue putting more parts on, like figuring out these guys, like these rails, and they just fit straight in the holes. So you line up the holes and they just fit in right like that and just glue in. So yeah, I don't go too much at once and it'll fall apart. So just going gently. Now, one mistake, well, lessons learned, this guy did hollow, I think 2 mil thick, and holding it, it kind of almost broke it. So I kind of glued it back on a little bit of super glue. So if I was going to do this again, this part, the magazine, I'd probably do solid or just do it in plastic, because that's the part where you kind of hold on to a little bit. Now, if you're running around a backyard, sure, but you know, if this is going to be on the shelf displayed, I think it really makes that much difference in hindsight, I guess. But yeah, so there we go. So just letting this guy dry up a little bit, and I'll come back a couple of hours and start putting more parts on it until we get it completely built, and then we'll get it into primer. Okay, so here it is. It's all assembled. It's still, some bits are still drying, so I don't be too crazy with this. But you can see the detail on this and how awesome it looks. You know, the resin parts, the gray, obviously, and the black is the plastic. Very heavy too. But yeah, there we are. So it's all assembled, all the parts and everything. And now I'm just going to let it dry overnight, and then tomorrow morning I'm going to hit it with some primer, some Duplicolor filler primer, filler for, you know, for the layer lines and stuff. So I'll give it a nice coat of this in the morning. And then I don't want to waste money on expensive modeling paint. So the first coat, give it a quick blast of some flat black from Home Depot, $2.48, cheap flat black paint. Let's get everything black, and then from there we can come with the airbrush and do some post shading or whatever we need to do. So that's the game plan for tomorrow. So I'll yeah, let this dry overnight, and we'll come back and we'll see how it looks once it's painted. Alrighty, so next day, and I got it primed. I primed the one side last night, and then first thing this morning primed the other side, and it started to rain, so I can't. It's supposed to rain all day today, so not looking good for me to get the black down. But again, this stuff is beautiful. It has that kind of misting nozzle. Can't find this locally. All my older repair places don't sell this anymore, so I got it on Amazon. Wasn't a bad price. I think it was like $12. Do various colors, but it's gray. Again, it's like low misting, like nozzle, works great, and it just goes down beautifully over everything. So yeah, so I'm kind of stalling a little bit, but looking great. I can't really move it much because it's I just literally put a primer down about an hour ago, and I don't want to keep touching it. So yeah, I did print out a stand too. I found on Thingiverse for free. So a couple of things here, and the base you can't really see. Well, maybe you can see. There we go. That's the base for it, which will get painted up as well. Thinking maybe like a red color might be good. Red might contrast the black blaster pretty well. But anyway, so yeah, kind of waiting game right now. So waiting for the rain to stop, and once we've got a clear opening for a few hours, I'll go out and then spray the base coat up the Home Depot flat black. Okay, so finished. So let's talk about this real quick. So painted it obviously the matte black, as you can see, and then just with some silver paint. I happen to have a silver Model Air, which even though it's an airbrush paint, actually hand paints beautifully. So a little bit of this and dry brush, which you guys know, dry brushing, basically just brush, put the paint on, rub it all off on a paper towel, whatever, so there's barely any paint left, and just run it over all the edges, and it gives you like the worn kind of effect. So dry brushed it, and that is it pretty much. So looking really good, really happy with it. And it's amazing to consider that this just was just what, plastic string and liquid resin not long ago, and now we got this guy out of it. And yeah, really happy. It turned out really well. So there we go. And print a quick standout. Did it in plastic, did it in resin originally, but kind of warped a little bit. So just do something quick and easy. Just printed it in black. Just give it a quick same paint as this. Just give it a quick spray, and create a quick basic kind of stand. At some point I might upgrade it, or do something a little bit nicer. But for now it's on the stand. and it looks great. So there we go. That's the Star Wars Galactic Armory E-11 blaster. So there we are. That's it, finished. It looks awesome. Really happy how it turned out. Again, I'm new to 3D printing. I've been doing this for about 2 months, if that. Galactic Armory is where I got it from. I'll put a link below if I remember to where I got the file from. We can purchase it from. I'm not affiliated with them any means or anything like that. I just have some really cool products, basically. And yeah, if I'm a newbie who can do this, then I think you guys can too. Material-wise, in terms of resin and PLA, I think probably and paint, probably less than $50, I would say. I didn't keep track of what I used material-wise, but I'd say definitely less than raw plastic and less than the kilo of resin for sure. Just using a cheap Sunlu Standard Plus resin from Amazon. It's $32, I think it is, for 2 kilos, the bigger bottle, double size. So about $16, $17 per kilo. But yeah, so there we go. It's really happy how it turned out. Again, new to this product, new to this kind of genre of modeling. I normally build aircraft, as you can see behind me, but big Star Wars fan. And yeah, have a lot of fun with this. I think the kids love running around the backyard with this and shooting stuff. Obviously pretend it doesn't work, but there we go. So thank you for watching this short video, a little bit different to my usual videos. Please hit the subscribe button, it really helps my channel out, and stay tuned for some more awesome content. So yeah, have a good one. Bye.